Well, hello everybody, welcome to Robert's train set for update number 20. Well, update is stretching it a bit, I would say. Just have a sup of me tea. So as you saw in the last update, I was a bit perturbed by the noise of, well, a couple of the locos really, the Ginty humming at me. And the Manor, the Accurascale Manor, really making a hell of a row, as I'm sure you'll agree. And really, it's occupied my thoughts as well as some of my time, wondering whether I'm doing something wrong. So I'll start with the good news that I said last time. Next Friday I go and get this cut out, hopefully. How I'm going to be after it and what they find, I don't know. So you can imagine I'm a little bit trepidation, I would say. I'm not really worried because what it is what it is, and you have to deal with it, and I will. But yeah. So the other thing is, when I went to Coastal DCC the other day to get that new decoder for Earl St Germans, which you'll see in this very briefly, I also bought some trees. So I bought a couple of fir trees, well, 3 fir trees, Douglas fir are they, I would think, and also I rather like these. So I got one packet of these. Now they're not cheap. This one was £23.63. You wouldn't want to do a John at Piccadilly with these, would you? The fir trees were a bit more reasonable at £17.77. This is from Coastal DCC, but I was there and I was looking around, so why not? And I've got one there and one there. They're not really in their fixed position yet. I'm just seeing what they're like. But the one next to the station building looks quite good. It might stay there. Tried one in the corner to try and hide where the bridge goes. Doesn't really work. It's just not enough room, even for the skinny fir trees. Right, so what's this all about? It's wiring, really. I am wondering, I'm seriously wondering if the wires I've used on this are causing a problem. So my buzz wire is made out of this twin and earth. Now this is lighting twin and earth, not mains twin and earth. So it's not as thick as mains, but it's still pretty beefy, and it's also solid core wire. And onto this I've fixed, and why I did it I don't know. This black wire is what I used upstairs, and I had quite a few reels of this in red as well, but all the red had gone. But I also had some wire I got from down the road, which is that, which I'm thinking I should have perhaps used. But I didn't use the red off of that for some inexplicable reason. I used the red off of this new cable that I did buy from Rails of Sheffield, at least I think it was Rails of Sheffield, which came, you know, readable. And I stripped the red off and used that for the red side of the rails. So I've got the thinner cable on the red going to the buzz wire, and then I've got the thicker black wire down from the other rail to the buzz wire. And I'm just wondering if this is causing an imbalance. I don't know. I know Charlie Bishop goes on about, you know, how many strands and all this. And I did have a comment from somebody sort of saying about the solid core more than anything, that you don't get as good a signal through this. Which might be true, I don't know. I will show you the measurement of the voltage that I got with my multimeter. But bear in mind, when you're measuring the voltage on this, you don't get a true thing because it's not really voltage, is it? It's the signal going down the rails. So I tried down here. I also did one up in the loft with the DR5000 on, and there wasn't a great deal of difference. The DR5000 was delivering a little bit more voltage to what it was down here, but it's so low you think, you know, it wouldn't work, but it's obviously not quite what it's saying it is. Another drop of the tea. So what have I done? So the first thing I did was I set up a bit of track on the baseboard, because I think my main thought on this is that the baseboard is acting like a loudspeaker, and it's actually magnifying the noise that is being made by these locos. Now, Earth the Germans, which you'll see, is a 5-pole motor, but basically it's almost the same as the Manor, isn't it? You know, it's a 460 loco with a tender. But the Manor is only a 3-pole motor. Why? I don't know. And it doesn't seem to make an awful lot of difference, you know, to how it runs, except when you get the noise that it makes being transmitted. So I thought I'd like to see if any of these wires are causing a problem. So as I said, I put a bit of track on the baseboard, and I just fixed it down with some masking tape. So it's you know, it's on there, but it's not fixed. Obviously, the main track is all glued now, isn't it? Very well, and you'll see that there is a difference, absolutely. So I did that bit, and that's what I was going to do. And then I had a bit more of a thought. Terrible, isn't it, thinking about things when they're not what you really expected. So I'd used all these different cables. So what I've done is I've put a bit of track on my bench here, my table, you know, which is sort of 3/4 of an inch thick and fairly solid. I held it at each end with a little bit of blue tack, and that's all. And then connected using the Hornby connector these various wires, which I'll show you a picture of what the wiring was as it runs, so you can see what that does. And then finally what I did is I took the Manor and I put a load of clips with the different wires one after the other, so going from the thick wire, so going from that wire right down to that wire, one after the other. And I haven't blended it, I've just cut, you know, you just go from one to the next, so you'll know where you're changing. And I'll come back to you at the end of the video and say what I think. Yeah. And really, that's preoccupied me. I've lost my bit of mojo, I must admit. And you know, I think I'm a bit upset that they won't run a bit quieter. Now, it's only really the Manor that makes an awful lot of noise. So am I spending too much time worrying about one loco when most of the others seem to run okay? Yeah, there is a bit of noise, but there's always a bit of noise, isn't there? One of the suggestions was that I don't have the bottom board on, which is quite, yeah, I can see that. It would let the noise out and it wouldn't reverberate between the two layers. So that could still be done, I think, you know, we'll have to see. So here we are with the bit of track stuck down on the masking tape, as you can see, and I'm using the new computer. I've got it working reasonably well now. So I took some measurements of the voltage, and as you can see I put it on alternating current at 20 volts, and it was quite a low reading, using the old prongs like so, like so. So yeah, only 9.53, which is low, isn't it? It should be sort of, you know, 15, 14. But it's very similar up in the loft with the DR5000. So I then did another measurement on this bit of track that's stuck down with masking tape, using just the normal wire that I would normally have used to connect, and that came up at 972. So it's, you know, it's in the ballpark, isn't it? So now let's get into the testing and see what it worked out at. Let's have a look. So here it is with the buzz wires reinstated, and it seems pretty quiet. If I get it going forward again, there is a little bit of noise. You know, it's going as slow as it can go. With the buzz wire reinstated, and yes, just as noisy as it was. So I then set up a bit of track on my table in here, which is, you know, fairly thick and solid, and tried it with lots of different wires, to be honest, as you can see. Seven miles an hour. 6 miles an hour. Miles an hour. So now a short sequence showing them all together so that you can sort of compare a lot easier, I hope. There is a little bit of noise. You know, it's going as slow as it can go. So everybody, yes, I hope I didn't bore you too much, but I just wanted to, it helps, you know, on the computer when you've got this set up, you can sort of look at it and see what you think. So my overall impression is it doesn't make an awful lot of difference. Yes, some is a bit noisier than others, but the actual speed of the loco, as you saw, can make a difference. So if you run the loco a little bit quicker, the noise goes. So it's almost like, you know, the motor is popping because it's going so slow. And I think a 3-pole motor would do that more likely than a 5-pole. So for that, I'm all for leaving the wiring as it is. Now, the thing that I'm not particularly happy with is some of these locos are having troubles with connectivity. And I'm wondering if that's because of the solid wired buzz wire. I don't know. But this doesn't seem to perform as well as the layout up in the loft. Now, yes, it's got a DR5000 on it as opposed to a Hornby E-Link, so it could be just that. Yeah, so still to be decided, I think. Would it be worth just stripping out the solid core buzz wire and putting in the thicker of the two wires I showed you, the black and the red? It's swimming around my head. I'm sort of itching to perhaps do it and see if it helps, but it's an awful lot of work, isn't it? If it makes absolutely no difference. Some of this is obviously the locos. It's not all the track, so I will do some more tests and see if I can sort of just settle in my mind, what I want to do. Once I decide, I'll do it. So I have said in the last one, didn't I, that I'm going to start on the platforms, and I said I needed to amend this one. So this is the station that was given to me by my neighbour, and I showed you this picture. And you might be wondering, why have I got to adapt this one? So if I just bring in the instructions to the Metcalfe platform kit, and I'll direct you to, if I could see it, this bit here. Now if we go right in, that is the edge of your platform. And as you can see with this, it's got a little lip on the edge of it, which sets back the vertical platform edge, if you see that. So if I then whip this away and put the building in front of you again, like so, you can see that this is all flush. So he's made it slightly different, and it looks a bit different to what's there. So I think I'm going to have to try and get this to be the same. So that's my first job, and I've not done it because I'm just, I'm up with this wire. I thank you for watching, and my new subscribers, it's still going up. So when you see this, I will have had this done. It will have already been done, whichever side it is. So I don't know what I'm going to be like. So I will put it up on that Friday, hopefully, if I get it done. And depending on how I'm feeling, I will try and answer your comments. Comments would be welcome. I've got quite a bit of help with the last one. So again, any thoughts, please let me know. See how we go. Right? Cheers, everybody. Cheers. Bye.